Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this course Certification in Quantity Surveying, and we are dealing with the rate analysis. And let us go for another important aspect for the rate analysis, that is the rate analysis of shuttering. As the same slide with the other previous ones, what we are exactly going to do, that this is what we are going to find out, that what are the various quantities of the material that are going to have and their costs, then the electricity charges, then overhead expenses, the cost of the equipment and the tools, contractors profit we are going to add. I have kept this other cost very equivalent and very similar all the time, so as to get um, the maximum similarities with all the rate analysis we are going to have. Only into this shuttering one I have added the rate electricity charges as a 2%. The water charges are not there, but the electricity we need for the cutting and anything, and for cutting of the battens, cutting of the plies, and a lot of cutting is there with the help of when it is about the shuttering. So for that I have added the electricity charges instead of the water charges by 0.5%. So this is what we are going to calculate with for this rate analysis of the shuttering. So now let's consider the problem statement. We have to calculate the rate analysis for the 10 meter square area of the formwork. And so, well, before starting this rate analysis thing, we should know that what exactly are the repetitions and why it is more emphasized has been put always about when it is about the shuttering. The repetition is another very important topic to have in a hand. So what is that? So whenever you purchase a ply, for wood, or it might be of it might be of steel MS plates or anything, they always have the capacity that you can use them once, twice, thrice, and at least 4 to 5 times is the repetition life. So the repetition life obviously depends upon the usage you are going to have. If you are using it for heavy and hefty works, and the workmanship is not good, the reputation is obviously going to get deteriorated. But usage is nice, the proper application of the oil is been given, while de-shuttering process it is been properly de-shuttered, and they are stacked in a proper way. Whatever the nails there are, they are taken out in a proper way, and whatever the battens are separated, they are rearranged in a proper way. So if it is happening as per the good workmanship is there, then the reputations of the any formwork can increase to the many times. But the workmanship is poor, though it can reduce to the 50% or even 75% also based on the workmanship. So there are certain based on good workmanship, what are the types of repetition we can have. The first one is our conventional formwork, that's a wood one. Whenever we see around whenever we see in our small construction houses and anything, the laborers or the local contractors, they use this one. So they have this conventional format, it's a 4 to 5 repetitions they do have. Then we have this MS plates format, formwork, which is very vastly used for the kind of a huge constructions who has the repetition of the 40 to 50. Then the My1 shuttering is been used these days a lot because it has a good life, and the repetitions are 100 to 125. But the only thing is that for My1 shuttering you need to have a huge construction. So just suppose a building of G plus 50, G plus 30 is to be constructed. In those cases, My1 shuttering is much helpful because the initial cost is huge. So compared to that, you need to get the outputs based on the type of construction you are going to have. So let us start with the quantity calculation. For the first one, we are going to need the plies. First of all, these are the supporting plies for anything, for construction of the beam, any slab, column, anything. We are going to need the plies. So for that ply, let us consider first of all the repetition or life is to be 4. So that means we are going to use for 10 meter square area. If I purchase only 2.5 meter square uh, ply, then it is enough for me to use for the 4 times to cover the area of the 10 meter square. So that means the 4 repetitions will help me to reduce the area and the cost also by 4 times. That will be 2.5. It will be only meter square area will be enough for me. Meter square ply will be enough for me to cast the 10 meter square in a 4 repetitions. So now including the we have to add the 10% wastages into that, which are going to be 2.75. 10% is 10 by 100 into 2.5, that is 2.75 meters square is the actual area we are going to consider. And therefore let us convert this area into feet square, because as I have already told you and I am telling you since the start of the series, on site many conditions are different, many units are different as we study in a study books. So we study in a books in a meter square, but on site everything happens in a feet square. So we just need to know that conversion very easily. So the actual area in feet square is equal to 10.76 multiplier is there to convert meter square to feet square. So that ultimately comes to be 29.601 feet square. Okay, and just for your understanding, just for your knowledge, the size of one ply is 10 mm thick, which is 1.2 by 2.4 mm, 1.22 by 2.44. That nearly goes to 2.97 meters square. Just for your understanding, we are not going to need this value for the calculations. The next one is this calculation of the wooden battens. Now, what are the wooden battens? Suppose this is the beam I'm going to cast. Okay, and there are to be some support that I need to give to the beam based on its depth. Okay, so these are the battens which are made up of wood, and they are measured in a quantity and a volume. Okay, so they have the length of wooden battens are of 50 mm by 75 mm by 2.45 meter. So they are of like they are of this is a wooden block, you can say, which is of this height, that is 0.50 mm by 75 mm, and this length is nearly 2.45 meter. That is much of long. A 2 by 3 inch and by 8 feet around, they are having this length. So now for one ply we need a 6 batten. As I have told you, for one whole ply we need to fix it, we need to have a 6 battens. So their volume, as if we want to calculate in a meter cube, we get this 50 mm by 75 mm by 2.45 meter. Then if you want to convert into the feet cube, we have a multiplier, we have been using this since long, 35.25. Value comes to be 0.3228 feet cube. Okay, so now we are telling that we are going to need the 6 battens, so that's why we are going to multiply the value by 6. The value comes out to be 1.9428. So now why am I converting these to feet and feet square, feet cube? Because whatever the rates that we have, most of the times are available in a meter feet only. So that's why I'm converting this to feet units. The next one, we are going to need the nails 2 to 3 inch. Now these are some of the quantities: nails, shuttering oil, and a binding wire. There are some of the quantities which are based on a thumb rules, which are based on a kind of, they're not a hard and fast that you're going to need this much. Okay, obviously they depend upon the workmanship also, how the workers are effectively utilizing that, but I have considered the minimum ones and in between the maximum ones. So I have considered an average value, which is like any kind of workmanship, at least this much of value you're going to have it. So let us go for that. So we need for nails, for fixing those plies and battens together, we need generally to 250 grams of nails for 1 meter square of formwork. So nearly 2.75 is our area. So that's why we are going to need nearly 678 grams, nearly about 1 kg 700 grams. The nails will be needed. The shuttering oil, 1 liter oil covers nearly 30 to 40 meter square area based on workmanship again. So we need to be sure about how much of oil these people are going to use, the laborers are going to use on site. Okay. The next one is a binding wire. Binding wire, nearly 125 kg binding wire is required for 1 meter square. Why do we need a binding wire? At some of the cases we need to fix in battens together along with the nails, so that for them binding them together we have to use a binding wire. So now 1 meter square is shuttering, we are having the 10 meter square of shuttering area, so 10 into 0.25, that is equal to 2.5 kg of binding wire will be required. So now what exactly the cost of material will be, what are the various materials we are going to have? Is a plywood, then wooden battens, support and battens, then nails, shuttering oil, and binding wire. So now we know about this batten. What exactly support and batten? In case of the column support, suppose we need to give some support from either side, we have to hold the column on the either side with the help of these things. For beam also, for foundation also, we need to give support, so that the whatever the concrete I am going to pour into this one cannot give a thrust and topple this out. For that, this support is the quantity considered in a point number 3. So now the quantity that we have calculated I put over here. Now the support and battens quantity is based on the plywood and wooden battens that we are going to use, and they are around 10% of the both of them together. So this value plus 2, this value plus this value, and their percentage of 10%, this value is around the value of the support and battens. The nails are available in a kg we have, and the quantity that we have calculated, their rate is around 50 rupees. So the quantity comes out to be 34.375. Shuttering oil is nearly 80 rupees a liter. As I've told you, 30 to 40 meter square area is covered. We are using just 10 meter square area, so the 1 liter of oil will be more than enough. We will have the spare oil with us. Then the binding wire is 2.5 kg we are going to need. The 50 or 65, 50 to 55 rupees is the cost. That goes to 125 rupees. So the total material cost goes to be 4,555 rupees nearly. Next one, we are going to need a carpenter and a mazdoor. So now we need to understand this another concept, wherein these are the multipliers that I have taken from the IS code that we already have discussed, and this is the quantity that we are going to deal. So up to now we were dealing with the quantity of 1 meter cube of PCC, 1 meter cube of RCC, then 1 everything. But now we have taken a 10 meter square of shuttering. So that's why I am multiplying first of all the quantity to that constant. So that will be ultimate give me the number that is which will give me the number of these people I am going to need for that amount of shuttering, and then into just with the help of application of this rate multiplying, I get the total quantity required. So these are the 1375 rupees will be required for the cost of the labor. So now the last sheet, as same as the previous one, we are going to have the just addition of this labor cost and the material cost together, and based on these two I'm going to add just electricity charges. Only 2% changes is there, other costs are same as the previous ones. So how we do that, let me tell you again. The first one we are going to have is the water and electricity charges, which are 2% of the first cost that we have got. Then we are going to add that cost to this cost, so we are going to get this one as a water and electricity charges, that's subtotal charges including that. Then the next cost is coming to be with respect to 5928.93 only, this cost, which value is coming to be this one. So how am I going to do that? To calculate this value, I have to add these two plus this value to get the next value. Based on that, we are just going to repeat the same one, and ultimately 6,850 rupees will be required for the 10 meter square of area for the shuttering, and this is how the analysis is done. With this, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.